Hello, and welcome to Gothic Reviews. Today, we are introducing a fairy from Schleich, with a cameo appearance by Dark Tooth Fairy.
The fairy from Schleich is also a darker fairy. You can see her wings are like a darker shade, and her hair is black, and they usually don't make a lot of fairies with black hair. I guess they like the blondes or the redheads or even other colors, so I thought it was really neat that she had black hair.
It's nice how her hair goes down her chest here. It seems like asymmetrical, which makes her all the more memorable, along with the other colors. The dress is all fancy green, really nice. Could be good for a bold dress.
But nice dark shades.
Yes. Appropriate for a fairy. It doesn't seem whimsical or silly like some other fairies. This is a serious, somber fairy. Appropriate.
A gothic fairy.
Yes.
So perfect for gothic reviews.
And I like the way one of her ear peeks out. It all seems very deliberate, really good work. And she has even some kind of a green goldenish pendant on her chest. I guess whatever it is supposed to be, it still has the nature colors, and it's very well made, so it stands out.
And if you turn her around, you can see that her hair is long in the back between the wings. It goes down rather far.
Yes, now I see it. There it is.
And she's got a nice train on her dress that trails behind in the back.
Also in green and golden colors, appropriate for maybe some kind of a nature theme as well.
The darker shades of nature, like a forest in the evening. And she has kind of, I think the outfit puts me in mind of a Victorian theme. She has those things on her arms, and it kind of reminds me of Victorian. I'm not sure that it's exact, but you know, they did have similar patterns in their clothes, so that's kind of neat that she gives her the gothic steampunk kind of feel. But she came from Schleich. Schleich, obviously, as you can see, puts very good detail in their figures. And we adults who like action figures too can enjoy Schleich because they have a lot of neat figures that are like statues, except they're not breakable. I guess unless you try to break them, if you take a hacksaw to her wings, they will come off. I wouldn't do that. But, you know, if you have a regular statue and something happens and, you know, she gets tipped over, it's like, damn, they probably went the train on her dress, cracked right off, you know, and she's fine. So I like these kind of like action figure statues because of the fact that they can be tipped over and whatever and not break, but Schleich has such excellent detail that they look really good. They don't look like chintzy, you know, toys for a 3-year-old. They look like a nice fairy statue if you just sit it on a desk or a table or, you know, even a windowsill or whatever. And her darker tones make her more interesting and gothic. She is not posable. She is in this pose, and she stays that way. Oh, she has no shoes. She has her little feet, which is cute. And she stands up nicely, especially because of the train on her dress. It gives her a good balance. But I don't think she needs to be posable. Like I've said about some of our gremlins before, when you have a lot of character and personality, you don't really need to be moved around. She doesn't seem static, even though she is. She still seems like she has life and character, and I think she's great the way she is. So Schleich has a lot of cool figures. They have mystical creatures like dragons, and they may have a griffin. I'm not sure.
Maybe unicorns.
Yes, they do have unicorns. They have Pegasus. I have a unicorn that I painted black from them because I wanted a black unicorn. I left the mane all pretty and glittery and the horn white. So you can even like paint them and do the DIY stuff to customize them. But they have a lot of different neat colored dragons and other stuff, and knights and different types of fairies. They even have a fairy holding a baby dragon, I think. But there's a lot of neat different ones that fit really cool various themes, and they're a German company, and we will put their link up so that you can check them out. But this one just grabbed me because of her kind of gothic overtones, with the dark hair and the darker wings and clothes. And all their wings on their fairies are kind of designed differently. Like they don't all look the same. Like some of the wings will be more butterfly, some of them will be like kind of like the dark angel feathery wings like hers. Hers remind me of like feathers. And they're kind of all different, so that's neat too. It's not like one of those generic ones where they use the same body and pop on a different head, and you know, kind of like almost once you've seen one, you've seen them all. This is not the case with the Schleich toys. Their fairy wings are even different. Their, you know, heads and body poses are all different. Their positions are different. Their clothes are different. They definitely don't use the same sculpt for all their stuff, with only a few differences. Because, you know, to me, that's kind of like a cop-out. They're not giving you a price discount when certain companies do that. And, you know, they charge you the same amount. It'd be nice if they put more effort into making each toy unique instead of just, you know, using the same body sculpt. And I'm not saying anything about a specific company, because any collector knows a lot of them do it, far too many. And it's a cop-out, and, you know, they're not giving you, it's not like, okay, pay $15 for the first one, you get the next 10 for free, because it's really the same thing, or not for free, but like, let's say for $5 each, you know, or whatever. Oh no, they're still overcharging, so it'd be nice if they did like Schleich does, and put individuality into each one, and Schleich does that. I don't want to get on my preachy soapbox about the other companies, so I'm going to stop, but, you know, I wanted to bring about the point that Schleich does truly make each fairy unique. And each one is special. Each one is in their own body pose, and everything's different about each one. So that's awesome. And I wanted to bring the Tooth Fairy in as a cameo. There's two versions of the Tooth Fairy. Ooh, okay. Her wings were kind of...
right?
Yeah, I was first like, am I holding her at a weird angle? Did I do something? But it's just her wings, when they're folded, extend past her feet. So
That's interesting.
it's okay. She's fine. Everybody's fine. We're fine. This is the Tooth Fairy from Todd Mcfarlane's stuff. And there's two versions of her. There's one that's all bloody and her mouth is open. You can see these cool rows of teeth, which is kind of cool, like Tooth Fairy, haha. And then there's this version that's more rare. And we saw her, and we decided to get her when we saw Toy Spot's review of her, which I will put a link up to, because he gave a lot of details that I'm not going to bother to give, because we try not to review the same toy that other people have reviewed. And he did not review this version. He reviewed the other version, the more bloody one with the mouth open. And so technically I'm not reviewing the same version, but I just had some different points I wanted to bring up about her. He even said, I think on his video, that he liked this version better. And I do too. I think that she doesn't have to have the blood and violence. She's just kind of a darker fairy herself. And sort of tattered. If you see her clothes are very tattered. And just like the way her hair and wings are. I'm going to show you her wings unfolded in a minute and comment on how much I love that. But anyway, she kind of reminds me of like how ancient nature is and how ancient fairies are. Just like, this isn't a new perfect little glossy shiny thing. It's kind of beat up and tattered and, you know, affected by the elements and her own personal markings and whatnot. And it just, to me, I don't even think about the Tooth Fairy from the movie. I just think about the ancientness of nature and fairies. And I think it makes her pretty goth and pretty cool. So I wanted to kind of cameo her in the Schleich review, even though she's from Mcfarlane, just because she's another dark fairy, and the darker fairies are harder to come by. So her hair moves, even though it's molded, which I love because I hate dolls. They're creepy, and I like action figure hair because it's molded rubber, and it's not going to get all coarse and yucky and tangled and messed up. So it's nice. But it still moves a little, which gives it a neat kind of feel, where most action figures' hair doesn't do that. And her hands move, her arms, excuse me. Well, and her hands, because her wrists have articulation. But again, Toy Spot covered a lot of those points, and so I'm not going to do it, even though it was a different Tooth Fairy. It was similar. I want to say that even though she looks kind of dark and not the typical fairy pretty, I think she has a nice figure. You know, she's well built, not overdone, but graceful. She has the slim waist and nice figure, and she just seems graceful. And I think in a horror kind of element, that's still nice to do. And I don't really see her as horror. Again, I just see her as the ancientness of nature and power. So I think that it's fitting that she looks pretty. And what I like about the wings is that they actually fold and open. And a lot of figures, like, say they can fold and open. Well, not a lot. Most of the wings are static. But when they do move, they kind of don't always move as well. So I love the fact that these screws that they have her wings on, I doubt that's the correct word, but anyway, they open and close very nicely. And it's not difficult to do. And so you can spread them, and you can make them higher, lower, middle, which is neat.
And it becomes a little bit longer, I think, in the unfolded way than what it looks like when it's folded. Like, it seems deceptively small to me, at least.
Unless you look at the bottom where it goes past her feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, they seem like, which is nice if you want, you know, have her in a box or something. You don't want to hurt the wings, or if you just have her like on a table, but there's not a lot of room for her wings to spread, and she's still out. Then she can have her wings folded, and it's just a different look, and it's a different pose, and like, I think that is cool. Yeah, they come down here and look long like that, but you know, otherwise, yeah, I see what you mean. It definitely cuts her size, which is nice. You know, the wings aren't in the way when you don't want them to be in the way, and so that's really cool. It totally changes her look, but the wings even kind of look old and tattered, the part up here and there, but you know, they're still up there. And this kind of like reminds me, I don't know if that's supposed to, probably not, but I think like fairies in nature, the upper part of her wings kind of reminds me of leaves or something.
I think that's right, because the lower part looks all brownish, which is reminiscent of trees, so it maybe ties her to the dried motif a little bit.
Yeah, or like the leaves turning when they get brown.
Yeah.
Autumn, dark, again, Gothic fairy, like I mentioned with the Schleich one, like kind of an autumn or dark evening feel. So I really like that, and we will put a link up to the bloody version of her from the Toy Spot, just because it's the same like figure, I think, with just different paint, and her mouth is different. So he will cover her points of articulation and everything else, and I just don't want to repeat it. But again, she has a nice trim figure. I think she is pretty in a dark way, and I really like this version. And so since he had mentioned it and stuff, but didn't have it, so I didn't show it, I wanted to cameo her and just bring up that dark nature kind of point that I really do like. In her dark, frightening beauty, and I do think that Mcfarlane carried that over well. I think a lot of his toys seem kind of out there, like that was just a little bit much, and it's weird now for me. Some of them just are just too overdone, too loud. It kind of loses the point, but this was just beautiful and perfect, and I really like her for just the cool, unique fairy motif. So with that, this has been our Dark Fairy review, and for Schleich toys, with a cameo by the Mcfarlane Tooth Fairy, the more rare version that is with a closed mouth. If you're looking online, it's the closed mouth version. That's usually how they refer to her. If you want to get her, we will try to put up a link, but she's more hard to find, so I think you're probably just going to have to troll eBay. And other places like we had to do. I think we got her from Amazon, but I don't remember if there was another one. So you just have to kind of put in the search, you know, Todd McFarlane's Tooth Fairy closed mouth version action figure, because I don't think it's sold anymore like all the time by a specific company that always carries it. So we probably won't put up a link on second thought, because, you know, if we do and somebody buys it and it's a dead link,
yeah,
there's no point. But that's how you would search for it. And we will put up a link to Schleich, and we will put up a link to the Toy Spot's Tooth Fairy review of Mcfarlane for the other version. So thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share, and join us again for more dark videos.